誰口説いてんだよ誰口説いてんだよ誰口あ書きました書きました
Why the speed? I am wrong. Why the speed?
What?
Hey. 超かっこよくない
No, it's okay. You have a husband. Don't look, stop. You have a husband?
Can you imagine the embarrassment? Imagine being with your significant other and you're out together and she sees some random dude from another country that looks nothing like you, and her first instinct is to go over and kiss him. And I believe this is in Japan, and there's already many videos circulating online with interviews with Japanese people about the state of relationships.
感じかな。
風俗行くって浮気だと思います？
浮気じゃないかも。
浮気じゃない。どうですか？
私も浮気には入んないと思います。はい。
なんで風俗は浮気じゃないと思います？
性欲満たすために行ってるから。まあ別に嫌だけど、他の女の人に行かれるよりは。
Now, despite there being a broad topic about there being lack of intimacy and the state of relationships in Japan, you'll have a lot of people, specifically Westerners, who will say, Japan seems like a great place for us guys. Let's go on over there because she's okay with me having prostitutes and going to brothels and whatnot. And all that happens is she's just mad about it, but she won't actually break up with me. This is amazing. Not realizing that in this specific region, most of the women also cheat. There are a lot of Western facets, particularly for the city portions of Japan, like Tokyo, and they will have a very liberal mindset as men and women. And these interviews are taken at these nighttime regions or districts where this kind of behavior is the norm. It's like the difference between interviewing someone who's in Pennsylvania in the countryside and someone who is in Los Angeles, California. They're going to have very different mindsets. So it's understandable why girls like the one in the video are probably used to this kind of behavior if she lives in this region and it's encouraged by the people that she surrounds herself with or the kind of lifestyle that she's always exposed to or takes part in.
友達、女性の周りの友達で浮気してる方はいますか？
まあ自分
が多いと思いますか？
いや、
イエスかノーで。
No.
少ない。
少ないと。いや。なんで少ない？
どうして？
私の周りの友達は割と遊ぶの大好きだから。
風俗行くのは浮気かっていう男が。
それも隠されたら浮気かな。
じゃあ彼氏がいたとして彼氏が風俗行ってくるって言ったらなんて言います？
理由にもよりますけど。
なんか人によると思いますけど、それについてはどう思いますか？日本独特だと思いますか？一定数そういう人がいるっていうのは。
そうかもしれない。いやなんか日本ならではのなんか文化じゃないけど、やっぱり有名じゃないですか。その風俗とかっていうのが、だから海外では割とそういうのがありえないっていうのはよく聞くので、そういう意味では日本ならではで、そう。
なるほど。
風俗とかがあるおかげで気持ちの浮気は少ないのかなって思っちゃう。So
then, because this probably takes place in the popping off areas, the hubs, the places that are popularized through social media and big cities, it becomes the face of the culture. So people who are watching, even people probably that are aspiring to move to these places to get better jobs or exposure and network, will look at this and think it's part of the lifestyle. And then we have this perpetuating issue with them not being able to have proper relationships because of the same problems that are taking place in the Western Hemisphere with women and men having this warped view of relationships. And then you have actually good Japanese men or women who are trying, but because the culture is so messed up with the state of dating, they don't even try anymore. They don't even care. You don't consider your partner's feelings. Everyone is selfish and only out for themselves. Pretty sure social media doesn't help with this either. Now, it looks as though this girl is drunk, maybe, but I've never actually been drunk, but I believe just based on observing that when people are drunk, whatever is inside of them usually comes out. You see, being sober, you're able to filter yourself, and when your inhibitions are up in flames and burning, you're gonna do things that you probably normally would do anyway, but now you have no way of filtering it, embarrassing yourself and your partner. One thing I will give the guy though, he was like, you know what? I'm trying to keep you sane. I'm trying to stop you, you know what? I'll just walk away. You're for the streets, and in the streets, I will leave you. But then it's kind of hilarious because you don't really know what the relationship actually is, because he leaves her and then goes with this girl instead and is like, come on, let's go. Another one bites the dust. I guess it's just you and me. It's still very, very embarrassing. I don't know what is going on, but also kudos for the Western guy for sticking up for the other dude, even though it didn't matter in the end, and all she ended up doing was embarrassing herself. Word of note, maybe if you know you have the proclivities to act out of sorts when you drink a lot, and I'm just assuming she's drunk, maybe not drink so much. And if you know that you're with somebody, whether you're her friend or her boyfriend, and she acts like this, maybe not hang around her until she changes her ways. Because I can imagine in many different situations where you would get in trouble for something stupid and brain dead that she did, starting drama every time she's drunk, which you have to get judged for or possibly eat the shit that comes along with it. Videos like this are possibly a good thing and a bad thing. Because on one hand, you have representation where it's not really anybody's fault. It all comes down to individualism. But people, unfortunately, we see the state of social media and we look at how people are behaving and we think that because we're not familiar with people from that culture or that country, we see people behaving like this and automatically think, wow, all women must be hoes. Or if you see some people who have good cultural values, you'll say something along the lines of, wow, all the women in that country must be good. And I used to kind of feel that way too. But what I've learned is, especially in the United States, you will have a lot of people. I used to think that people from the US were entitled and just weird in the way they behave when moving to other countries or visiting other countries, very disrespectful. But then I realized a lot of those entitled people originate from city life or city culture. Not saying that people who live on the countryside don't have those mannerisms. Trust me, there are a lot of those people. Everywhere you go, you're going to have people on an individual level that are assholes. But a lot of that mentality, the victim mentality, the entitled mentality, the materialistic mentality, the get-rich lifestyle mentality, the cheating mentality, a lot of that is kind of encouraged in these spaces where people are all packed very tightly together and always fumbling over each other to get ahead.
女性の方って縛られたくないみたいな人が多い気がする。なんか外国って縛り合ってるのが愛みたいなあるじゃないですか。けど女性はなんかそれを日本人の方は嫌がってるイメージがあるから重すぎない方がいい。
That's usually a city thing. There is, in general, a stereotype with people from the city and from the country based on generalities. And so you have people being portrayed from these city areas with one type of mindset, one ideology, and then for the rest of the world, they believe that that is the only thing that exists. And then I moved to places like I moved to in a town that has like 3,000 people, and I am shocked at the level of politeness, respectability, hardworking people are here. I mean, people are very tolerant. They like to pretend that people in small towns are intolerant. No, they're intolerant to nonsense. But you look at the people here, and I'm wondering to myself, wow, if people saw you as a representation of what Americans were, America wouldn't get such a bad rap. But because the city people, or the people who are the loudest, as we call them, the vocal minorities, are at the front page of everything, the ones running everything, the ones being spectacular, trying to get validation from people on the internet, not actually owning farms and just living their lives, because they're the ones that are in the public eye all the time, people naturally make that association with that representation as it being all Americans. So for the Japanese culture thing, you can look at this and say, wow, I want to get me a Japanese woman. And people will go overseas trying to look for people like that solely based on this one aspect that they just happen to mention, foregoing every other important facet of what comes with that culture or someone with that mindset. And the thing is that a lot of people don't realize they're okay with it, or they're not really okay with it, but they excuse it because a lot of the women also take part of that as well. It's not just a one-way street. And it's very weird to me how people on the internet will see something like that. It shows you the state of mind of a lot of these younger people. Funny enough, a lot of them are guys, and they sound like radical feminists, but on the other side of the coin, because they'll say, yes, sexual freedom, and that's great. I want a woman who will just get mad at me, and I don't care if I hurt her feelings as long as she lets me cheat. And you hear people on the radical feminist side basically saying the same thing. Everything that they're allowed to do, they scathe the men for doing it. So I've learned that there are two sides to every coin. When you're looking at something, don't judge a whole country or a whole group just based on the actions of one.
No, it's okay. You have a husband. Don't kiss. Look, stop. You have a husband?